Stephen W. Burns, Metal Gear Solid 5. This is the big one. This is your entire career has been spent waiting for this moment where you get to review this game. Is it a Steve Burns 10?
Well, no, that's not true, Jim. I've not been waiting for this game.
No, I'm saying cosmically. I think everything's been leading to this moment.
Yeah, Pez has overshadowed it though.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is an incredible achievement.
So it's getting a 9 because Wayne Rooney's not in it.
I mean, if you could kill Wayne Rooney, you'd be getting a 10. I don't know whether I'm going to give it a 10. It's close to a Burns 10, the mythical beast which is, but I played it for about 30 hours for our review event, and we meant to get code this week so I could polish it off, and we didn't. So I can't make a call on whether it is a 10. Which is a shame, because you need to see the end of the story, because you know story's big in these Kojima epics. And this is supposedly the last one. It's going to tie it all together. It'd be like reviewing episode 3, and you're like, no, I've not seen the last 20 minutes. Like, shite, mate. I can say, confidently, I can say that it's the best game of the year. There you go.
Absolutely no question.
No question.
It's
None.
better than The Witcher 3.
I've not played The Witcher 3, but...
How'd you know then? What is brilliant about MGS5?
So the settings are amazing. If you want to stay spoiler-free, then get the fuck out. You shouldn't have been in there in the first place, really. But you start in Afghanistan. In fact, you don't even start in Afghanistan. You start in Cyprus. But shh, not allowed to talk about that. And then you go to Afghanistan. And then after that, you go to some African states, which is the Angola-Zaire border region, disputed in the Civil War. And so the first area, Afghanistan, is kind of it's like curated open worlds. That's the best way to put it. So it's not like in GTA where you just hop in a car and drive wherever you want. You'll be dropped in MGS where you want to go, but around you there'll be stuff for you to go and see. It's not asking you to just get on your horse and ride around and pick flowers, although you can do that. Really, you get dropped so you're close to where you want to go, and then you go and do stuff. But there's a nice difference between the two environments. So like Afghanistan is violent. It is the environment is jagged and sheer. There's lots of cliff faces and stuff obstructing your view. Whereas Africa is like, it seems more still, vengeful is the way I put it in the review. It's almost like it's waiting. Those gigantic savannas that you can look across, it all looks really peaceful, but you know there's fucking badness out there. Whereas in Afghanistan, the Soviets are there. You know why you're there. It's a very unforgiving place. There's loads of sandstorms which reduce visibility to like 5 feet in front of you. It's an oppressive place, Afghanistan. Whereas in Africa, sometimes you're like, oh, this is actually quite beautiful, really. So the environments are incredible, and then the places that you go within them are superb. Like I say, the curation element. So not like you just ride around. There are like Soviet gulags and fortresses built into the side of mountains and all of this sort of stuff that comes out, and the game moves up through the gears as you evolve as a player and as Snake evolves when you kidnap more people and unlock more stuff on the tech tree. It's bloody brilliant, Jim.
In terms of curated open world, does that carry through for the whole game where you are you're not directionless at any point?
No, you'll get a mission or a side op. So the game is broken. It's not like the previous Metal Gear games that aren't Peace Walker. It's not like just a very elaborate, amazing production value boss rush, which I think Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 essentially are. You feel there like you're infiltrating a set. You're moving through upriver to a big bad. You kill the big bad. Mission accomplished. Go home. Here you're in country. You are. Imagine not that you're a secret operative sent in to save the world. Instead, you're actually like a very hands-on CEO of a private military company. Right. So you just come in and you're like, look, War Incorporated needs some more fucking stuff done.
So you're like Vince McMahon.
You are like Vince McMahon, yeah. Sometimes you just have to get in there and sort things out. So when you pick missions from your helicopter, generally, and then you get dropped off, and you decide which missions you take. So there may be story ones where you'll catch up with certain characters and progress the story. But a lot of times, those story missions are outweighed by side ops. And those are operations that you go on for fun or profit or sometimes dubious morality. But it's up to you how you do it. You may find out via some of your intel teams that there's a high-value Soviet general, and you've got to go and assassinate him. I mean, assassination in games is great. It's my favourite thing. Like Far Cry 2, C4 by the side of the road, bang. But then you're like, shall I kill him? If he's this high-ranking, this important, why don't I just snatch him? And then the game starts to, you start to make business decisions. How odd to think that in a Metal Gear Solid game, where really it's quite clear cut that the morality is dubious, like I said, in Metal Gear games. What is right and wrong, what is good and evil. But generally, there's a guy in octopus armed power armor who really wants to cut you in half with a sword, and it's quite clear cut that. This is like, I do want some more weapons. I would like that gun. Well, I'm going to have to go find someone and kidnap them. And so you start operating a Metal Gear game as a business. It's like a military industrial complex simulator in that regard. So that makes it sound really dull. It's not, because then you start getting into the micromanagement of being like, okay, I need to build out my base here. I need to put more into R&D or my intel or medical teams. And you're like, you know what? I am just going to start kidnapping people. And you think, this is the greatest game of all time. I attached a balloon to a man and he flew off back to the Seychelles. How has this been allowed? It's superb.
That is incredible. Just to round off then, it sounds like it's a massive, expansive game with a lot of depth and a lot of intricacy. But without spoiling anything, is there one kind of moment? It could be a recurring moment or something that happens the once. But is there any one sort of moment where you think this is the greatest game?
Well, there is like a 20-minute section where you get to shoot children in the face with rubber stun bullets, which is pretty much makes the gamer forever. But
so the bit where you get to shoot children with rubber stun bullets.
Yeah. What the game's mechanics? What it has is definite phases to play. It's the best way to think about it is it's the greatest Far Cry game ever made and will ever be made. It has that mission loop. You turn up places, you look through binoculars, you tag people, you sneak in, you sneak out. The game is so flexible in both its environmental design, in enemy logic and AI, and in player response to that AI, that the planning, the sneaking, the action phases aren't distinct like an old Rainbow Six game. You see where you got to go, you go and do it. Here you do that, but you're doing stuff on the fly. You're constantly making the action or stealth or any of those other beats up as you go along. And in old Metal Gear games, if you were seen, you were fucked, basically. You hid in a locker, and then you waited. Here, secondary protocols, as Tom Clancy may say, are so incredible. There's so much flexibility, as I say. So, an example, you sneak into this Soviet prison. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly well defended. Right, so how do I get in? So you've got best laid plans. Off you go. Immediately, you throw a magazine, an empty gun magazine, to distract a guard. You attach a Fulton to him. He goes into the air. Another guard sees you. You're like, ugh. So you've got to take out that guard. But then you're stacking bodies, and you're thinking, well, now people are going to know he's missing. And it's just the way things keep on dialing up. It doesn't start at 10. It doesn't really start at 2. It just starts, and then your actions make it easier or harder for you. And in this example, I did that. I Fultoned the guy. Another guy saw, so I had to take him out. And someone realized that he was missing. And I was like, oh no, now they're in alert phase. I got the prisoner. Really, I could have just, if I hadn't have done this, I would have just gotten cleanly. I could have come out the way I came in. Mission would have been fine, S ranking. But now the base is on alert. I get seen because I can only fire one-handed weapon while I'm carrying him. And I have to call in my escape chopper. I call it in because they've got some heavy ordnance. It flies into the top of this prison, starts taking out all the bad guys on the big machine guns. I throw the guy in the back of a Jeep and I drive off into the Afghanistan wilderness. I'm like, this is the greatest game of all time. None of those things had to happen or really needed to happen. But when I turned up, I made a couple of, not even wrong, but made a couple of calls that didn't play in my favor. And that's what the whole game is about. It's not like old Metal Gear where you're just pushing forward to see more stories and more bosses and get past these alert sections. Here, you're in the middle of a war, and the little actions you take have broader, butterfly effects within that war. So you always feel like you're actually making a difference, good or bad. It's fucking brilliant.